I wish I could tell you that I want you here with me, but you'll never love me like the way we used to be. Too far from Saturn, lost in the patterns. Where's the stars align so we could be free? Palms are sweaty, knees unsteady. I can't see my head on straight. Heart is heavy, wasn't ready.
Welcome to the channel, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
What have we got to show us then today?
BMW M4 comp. You can tell by the carbon roof.
What's the colour?
Gas Marina blue,
Yeah, nice.
which they no longer do in the G series.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice to have this colour.
What year is it?
20.
20. Yeah, because I think these are the 20 plates. It's the last year of the M4 production, isn't it?
Yeah.
They did do a 70 plate Heritage Edition M4. There's made about 75 of those, but this is pretty much one of the last comps you can buy, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a nice spec as well because it's the LCI. It is the LCI.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite late
The only thing
LCI.
it hasn't got, which is annoying, is the Harman Kardon because it was when the COVID chip issues were going on apparently.
Yeah.
So it hasn't got that.
So the competition cars actually came out in 2017, so you might find a very late pre-LCR 66 plate actually has the competition pack, but again, this is quite a late LCI car. So you get lots of optional extras over the normal non-comp, so including revised springs, new dampers, new anti-roll bars, you get a power increase as well, up to 444 horsepower, so standard is 425. Also, these get standard the black chrome tailpipes and shadowliner standard. You also get these 20-inch 666M wheels. On the interior of the competition package, you also get these lightweight sport seats along with M-striped woven seat belts. So under the bonnet, we have the 3-litre inline-6 S55 engine. This particular version features 444 horsepower. So there's actually 4 different variations of the S55 engine in the M4. To start with, we have the original M4, which has 425 horsepower. We've got the competition pack and the Heritage Edition, which have 444 horsepower, which is found in this one. We've also got the 453 brake horsepower variant, which was featured in the M4 CS and M3 CS. And finally, the 493 brake horsepower variant, which is featured in the M4 DTM Championship Edition and the M4 GTS. So I just want to ask you a bit about the spec of the car, Chris. What spec has it got on this one?
So it's the comp pack, which comes with a carbon roof.
Yeah.
What else does it come with? The wheels.
The 6XM 20-inch wheels. Yep. Star spoke.
The increased brake horsepower.
Yep.
Slightly tuned, I believe. So it's 444.
Yep.
Brake horsepower rather than 420.
425. Yeah.
Apparently the diffs tuned with a software tune. I believe. I'm not sure about the DCC, but Piers probably knows about that. Is the DCC slightly tuned?
Yeah, it's slightly revised on the LCI and it being a comp anyway. Yeah.
Because all the other owners say the non-comps are really snappy when you change gear, and that's why there's a lot of people in lampposts, whereas I think they've toned it down so the gear changes aren't as ferocious on the comps. Yeah. I believe. And then the optional extras, which the previous owner spec'd on this, was the Icon
headlights, yep.
The carbon in the interior,
yep.
The head-up display, and the extended leather, which
black Marina
extended leather, which brings the leather to the door card there. You can get the full leather, which does cover the tops
and on the top of the dash as well.
Top of the dash as well. And I believe there isn't much difference other than that because this is one of the later models. It comes with the latest iDrive system.
Yes, it's got the iDrive.
Well, not the latest now, but for that period. Yeah. Because the earlier models had the previous iDrive. And I think that is it.
Now join us inside the M4 comp. I'm joined with Chris. Welcome, Chris, to the channel. So yeah, how you getting on with the M4 so far? You've had it a little while, haven't you?
Yeah, I love it. I've owned it for coming up to 2 years in, I think, around April. Yeah. I've had the F80 M3 before, which is obviously pretty much the same car, and it was a comp.
That's what I thought it was a comp.
Obviously, this hasn't got the rear doors. Ironically, I actually prefer the M3 as a car now, and I would have kept that, but I went from the M3, I went to an A45 AMG.
plenty of parts out there, 55 in them, and yeah,
and it sounds nicer than the M2 in my opinion.
The comp, yeah.
It's the LCI 55 like this, and I don't particularly like the sound of this car either. I prefer the single turbo 55 sound.
Yeah, I think they are one of the best kind of new age 3-litre turbo engines, just from NW really, not to me anyway. They people who like B58s will argue with that, but
yeah. B58's a really good engine because my partner had it in her M14.
Oh, was it Z4 M4 Ti G29?
And it was quite fast, but I thought it ran out of legs after about 100, whereas this kind of carries on. But it's a really impressive engine, and it's a good mix of performance to MPG out the box. I know people mod them and they get some really big power down there.
Yeah. Cool little cars actually, rear wheel drive, quite small.
Very small, but they're good though, they are fun. I did some spirited driving actually on the way back from Birmingham once, and there was an M4 in front, and I thought, I've never compared one side by side, and actually we're on an autobahn. Up to 100 we were pretty matched. I believe it was a standard M4, but yeah, when we got to 100 it pulled away quite considerably.
Well, that's pretty good. I mean, I think the generation you had was, I think it was a 340 horsepower variant.
That's it.
And it's pretty different. It's the same power as M14 Ti. I don't know exactly what they weigh, but I think there's got to be a little bit less, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Even being a cabriolet.
Yeah.
Cool little cars actually. You've seen they do a manual one now as well.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's quite cool.
Doesn't it come in a grey colour?
It's green, like a frozen green.
Oh, that's it.
It's kind of the last couple of years of Z4 production before that.
That would be really fun to be fair.
Yeah. There's a few, not loads about, but cool little cars. So what other performance cars you say you've had? You said you've had the A45, haven't you? The M3
I haven't really had many performance cars because I stepped up from a 2-litre diesel CL to the M3.
Yeah.
And that was a massive learning curve in terms of driving. So it's the first rear-wheel drive car I had, and they're known to be quite snappy. So yeah, it was quite a learning curve. Come on now, come on, Jesus Christ. And then I had my A45, but like I said, that was really easy to drive. Had my M2. I probably learned a lot from driving the M2, with it being like a short wheelbase, quite light and quite fast. I had some hair-raising moments in the back end, but it does teach you a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of car control. I'm not saying I'm a great driver, but you do definitely learn from driving a car like that.
Definitely. Another thing I wanted to ask you about as well is the video you did with Misha as well. How was that? Did you enjoy your time with Misha? Was it a good experience?
The Nurburgring, somewhere I've always wanted to go ever since playing Gran Turismo. And I probably couldn't tell you how many laps of the Nurburgring I've done, so I know it off by heart. On every game I've had since, even if it's Forza, I've always chosen that track and drove around, so I've always wanted to go. And when we brought this, I mentioned to my partner that I wanted to go, so she just said book it. So I was like, okay. So I booked it. I had this car a month, and then I went straight to the ring.
Yeah, you hadn't done any mods to it at that point. Was it fully stocked then?
Yeah, it's fully stocked. It literally, as it came from EAG, and then where was I? Oh yeah, so then I stayed at Apex, which was Misha's hotel, and I saw him in the car park, and he had a Track M4 anyway that they used to use as a taxi. So I said to him, would it be okay if no, do you want to take me out in, no, sorry. I said, you wouldn't want to take me out in my car because you've already got a track one there. And he said, oh no, I would enjoy it. And basically I got a bit panicked because I'm an awful passenger. And it was my partner that said, no, you should go out with him because you watch all his videos all the time. But to give you a bit of an insight as well, actually, when we got to the Nurburgring, sorry, I thought you were just giving it a bit of sport, but it's a diesel. It's
220D.
Yeah. Always doing a big, oh my lord.
Nice bit of legal driving. Sorry, you said?
So, yeah, when we got to Nurburgring, we were looking for the hotel, we went for a drive, the track was closed, and I wanted to go for a slow lap first so I could get used to the track. My partner specifically said that she didn't want to go on Nurburgring. Then I saw when I was driving past that the track was open, and in my infinite wisdom, I just thought I'm going to go for it, take her on. And by the end of the first straight, slow down, and she weren't best pleased with me. So she used that against me to Misha. Everyone's trying to race. And how did that? Yeah, so she said to him, could you scare him? Because she scared me. So he was laughing, and he didn't tell me at the time. But yeah, we went out, and it's just being a passenger, which is the scariest thing. You're in control, you're holding the wheel, but being a passenger is a totally different thing. But it was very scary. I was scared. In the video, I do a few things like pray and stuff, and I'd already kind of thought of that before, just to try and get some likes and do it for a little bit of a laugh. But the most annoying part is getting slated in the comments. There's a lot of positive comments, and I think the positive comments outweigh the negative comments. But people were saying he can't afford that car, which is annoying because the tyres were low in the video on the front. But I'd actually brought it from EAG like a month before.
When you had it what? Was it a month ago?
Yeah, like a month. So I hadn't really even looked, because when you buy a car, you just think, oh, they're okay. But yeah, they were a bit perished, but they were fine. And then some people were saying, oh, why has he got a car like that if he drives like this and all this? So yeah, I was getting quite a lot of stick, which was quite annoying. So yeah, but on the whole, it was a great experience. I'd love to go back. Misha was really nice. When we came out of the Nurburgring, he tried to press my brakes and the pedal hit the floor. So he said instead of going back, we're going to go for a bit of a drive. And I had no fuel as well, so he took me to that petrol station, which is always quite famous, right by the Nurburgring. So yeah, we went there, and it was really cool. Like, he was a really nice chap actually. He messaged me on Instagram just before he launched the video, which was nice, I thought. And I messaged with him a bit after, and then I said I would do some mods, supporting mods like some Castrol SRF, is it? The brake fluid, which is meant to be the best.
go then. Let's see what it's like. That's quick. So you passed it for a minute. It's pretty cool, not too fair. I was expecting it to spin up a little bit there.
Does you, like, if it's depends. My foot wasn't like fully flat, so if you go slower, it does like. You should struggle now for grip.
I'll push back, isn't it? Oh, this road's changed.
That's all in the speed limit as well.
Yeah. Some miles an hour. That's quick.
I was going to give it some around that bend, but then I thought it'd be really embarrassing in the video if I ended up putting us in a hedge. It's quite wet, so like I was going to give it some, and then I thought, I'll leave it a second.
It's a little bit damp, isn't it, but it's dry in certain places, I think.
Yeah, it seems to grip well.
That's quick.
You can change the gearbox shifts as well.
Yeah.
So
What setting is it in the harshest one at the minute, or is it?
no, it's in the most basic.
Really?
form.
Cool.
Yeah. Which is also why it's not spinning up as much, because if you put it in 3, it gets really leery. It's like an old Evo. You feel the back like
Yeah.
sound of
It's like swerving.
it. It does like pop a little now, so I don't know if you'll be able to hear it.
Yeah, if we went about that, you can hear it. Was that the ball, was it?
That was me, sure. I was thought we were going to be in the hedge.
Yeah, short shifting.
It's funny how you just sat face.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
why I love these cars though, because
Yeah.
like my friends have had Audis and things, and my A45, that never happened. You just be
Yeah,
plastic.
you just gone, wouldn't you?
It's like the thought. I don't know. It's a bit like an adrenaline there. The fact that you may die.
Something about rear wheel drive. I mean, I know the new M3s and M4s. I mean, you can early ones, you can get rear wheel drive ones still, but so all the new ones now.
G-series.
Yeah, all the new G-series, LCI, the MX drive. Obviously, you can still put them in rear wheel drive only, but you just can't beat rear wheel drive for a bit.